Welcome to DR show. This is Dr. Tangella Shiva Prasad Reddy alias Dr. TSPR. Namaste, Adab, hello, and a warm welcome to Ajay Mishra-Garu. He is a former bureaucrat. వారు ఇండియన్ అడ్మినిస్ట్రేటివ్ సర్వీసెస్ నుంచి ఎనర్జీ చాలా మంది మెసేజ్లు మిశ్రా గారిని ఎందుకు తీసుకొస్తలేరు, G20 అన్ని మీరు పెడతా ఉన్నారంటే వస్తారు సార్. ఎనర్జీ గురించి వారు బాగా మాట్లాడతారు, పర్యావరణం గురించి డెఫినెట్ గా. కానీ ఇక్కడ ఫస్ట్ హక్కులు, వనరులు, రైట్స్ అండ్ రిసోర్సెస్ ఇవి బాగా కానివ్వండి, తర్వాత వారిని డెఫినెట్ గా తీసుకొస్తారు. వనరులు వారు డెఫినెట్ గా వస్తారు, కానీ హక్కులు కూడా అవసరం కదా. అందు గురించి ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ తెలంగాణలో జరుగుతున్నటువంటి పరిణామాలు, ది ఇన్స్టాన్సెస్ విచ్ హావ్ బీన్ అకరింగ్ ఇన్ ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ అండ్ తెలంగాణ, అండ్ ఫార్మర్ చీఫ్ మినిస్టర్ నారా చంద్రబాబు నాయుడు గారు has been remanded to, is in judicial remand in skill development case. And also today the Honorable Supreme Court could not hear his petition on quashing, and 3 pleas were there. That has been again, I'm hearing that it has been postponed, and subsequently the same thing happening in Amaravati Special Court also. In this context, and then when you come to Telangana, the Delhi liquor case, Supreme Court notified till November 20th. KD Kavita we call. KD is, don't misunderstand, it is her family name. She is married to KD Anil Garu. Andu gurinchi mem chepta unnam. KD Kavita Garu. Her case has been postponed to November 20th. Enforcement Directorate, we don't know. All witnesses turned hostile against Kavita Garu. And still, in spite of so many things in the remand report, in the charge sheet, and so many witnesses and so many accused speaking about South Group and Indo Spirit, still Kavita Garu, she is leading from the front on the political battlefield. She's going around attending rallies and being Honorable Chief Minister's daughter, and another again sister of Honorable Minister Kalakunta Taraka Ramarao Garu. We should present ourselves ethically, because we are not here to judge anyone, because this show is very clear. No enmity against individuals, nor animosity against parties or organizations. The issue as per rule of law, constitution, invoking evidential act. There CID arrest Chandrababu Naidu as witness so and so 3738. Remand report beautifully drafted, and we have even presented also how they have been interconnected with the income tax document, because court goes by evidences. Though the charge sheet is yet to be filed, but since 2021 many have been arrested. And interestingly, ED and IT, they have been into this thing. They have arrested, and they have even, that misappropriated fund has been attached. So there's a big case, but still, so different cases. In one case, former chief minister in judicial remand. In other case, Kalakunta KD Kavita is outside, happily going around. And again, let me reiterate, I've been telling very clearly, we believe and we vouch by constitution. Bail is a fundamental right. Make no mistakes. And in the past, even in regards to YS Jagannath Reddy Garu, Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Honorable Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, in his case also, IAS Sri Lakshmi Garu, BP Acharya Garu, they were arrested. They went for judicial remand to later on out on bail, and some got it quashed in High Court, and later they went for appeal in Supreme Court. Likewise, many IAS officers, IPS, everyone, even in contempt, Disha case contempt, IPS officers going around Supreme Court, instituted inquiries. So in this scenario, what is the role of an Indian administrative officer? What is the policy? ఒక ప్రణాళిక ఏంది? రాజకీయ పార్టీలు, గెలిచిన పార్టీలు ప్రణాళికలు తెస్తే దాంట్లో అధికారులది, ఐఏఎస్ అధికారుల పాత్ర ఏమిటి? వారిది కూడా రాజకీయ నాయకుల పాత్ర ఏమిటి? ఎందుకు ఈ విధంగా ఈ అవినీతి ఆరోపణలు ఎదుర్కొంటూ వారు జైల్లో పోవాల్సి వస్తూ ఉంది? ఎందుకంటే ప్రజాధనం పారదర్శకంగా, జవాబుదారుతనంతో ప్రజలకు ఉపయోగపడే విధంగానే ఖర్చు పెట్టాలి. పబ్లిక్ మనీ షుడ్ బి యూటిలైజ్డ్ ఇన్ ఎ ట్రాన్స్పరెంట్ అండ్ అకౌంటబుల్ వే ఫర్ పబ్లిక్ యూటిలిటీ ఓన్లీ, not for without any DPR reports. We have seen Hyderabad, how SRDP and all going around. No proper detailed project reports. And then Kaleshwaram project, did you go for global? This thing we don't know. So in that case, if your time is bad, and if someone seriously pursues with evidences, and if the court also has got that tenacity, audacity to listen to concerned citizens, Article 51G. And don't forget, every citizen is a constitutional authority, right from Prime Minister to Chief Minister. They're all public servants. They're all public servants only. First, your statements are before I show a couple of IAS officers on the screen who have been facing many contempt cases also. కోర్టు ధిక్కరణ కేసులు కూడా మనం చూసాం. సోమేశ్వరం లాస్ట్ సోమ వారి పేరు ఐ డోంట్ వాంట్ టు, ప్రజాధనాన్ని పెట్టి ఆయన కోర్టులు ఫైట్ చేస్తా ఉన్నాడు. కోర్టు ధిక్కరణ ఎందుకైంది? కోర్టు చెప్పే విధంగా ఆ అంశం పట్ల వారు చట్టరీత్యా చర్యలు తీసుకుంటూ అయిపోయేది కదా. వై కంటెంప్ట్ ఇఫ్ యూ హ్యావ్ యాక్టెడ్ యాజ్ పర్ రూల్ ఆఫ్ లా ఈవెన్ ఆఫ్టర్ కోర్ట్ సైటెడ్, బట్ యు ఆర్ ఇన్వెస్టింగ్ ది సేమ్ పబ్లిక్ మనీ. Sir, how do you look at this scenario? You are an IAS officer, and make no mistakes, IAS officer is a concerned citizen like us. He's an individual with all the rights. He has a family to look after. He has got responsibilities at home, at office, and even after you quit, again, people really keep calling, as I've been doing. Mr. Ajay Mishra-ji. Sir, welcome. Your passing comment before I show.
Thank you very much. First of all, for inviting me to your channel. See, the two cases which you have mentioned, rightly so, one, if I can call Madam Kavita case, and second is the Andhra CM Chandrababu Naidu case. See, both are not same. There is a difference between them as we see it from the official point of view. In the case of Madam Kavita, it's the bureaucracy is not involved in those cases overall. In the case of Andhra Pradesh ex-CM Chandrababu Naidu Garu case, it's a decision taken through the bureaucratic process, and finally the final decision is at the political executive level. And both the cases are under the purview of judiciary at different stages. At one level, bail is a right, but then judiciary has to examine and decide the special circumstances or the special points which are mentioned before it, on the basis of which whether bail is to be granted or not to be granted. That is one. So I'll not comment on the bail not being given in one case. So that is to start with.
We are not judging anyone. We are not judging purely. And one correction, sir. There also in Delhi liquor case, it is the chief secretary who was the whistleblower. He has reported it to the Honorable Governor, Lieutenant Governor of Delhi. That is how this policy decision, he said there are so many lacunae, and to favor some, this new excise policy has come into place. Chief Secretary himself was there, and here also ex-chief secretary, ex-finance secretary, and personal chess secretary. They're
yes.
So you mean to say bureaucracy at a later level passing on the butt to the executive, I mean politicians, and they are
no. On the point which I am seeing, which is different in these cases. Yes. First, I started with that the case is not similar from the legal point of view. It is different in the two cases. But where I am seeing from the bureaucratic or the official point of view is, and these are one of the few instances where for administrative action, the political executive is being held accountable to start with at the political level and acknowledged by the judicial level. See, that is a new trend which I am foreseeing today. Normally, for administrative actions which are approved by the political executive, the judiciary calls the topmost official, normally the secretary to government, and they are held accountable. And ultimately, the contempt cases are against the secretary, not against the political executive. Yeah. But in the present case, which you have rightly mentioned, here the political executive is also being held accountable for the action taken or the way it was implemented. So that's a new beginning, if I can say so. In some cases, I have seen during my time, the administrative head would be harassed by way of appearances and all kinds of statements by the judiciary for no fault of his. When I say no fault of his, means his only drawback was that he was not able to get the signature of the political executive on what the judicial process wanted or desired as per. So see, and it is not his right to get the signature of the political executive. So this is a beginning before the judicial system, that the person or the institution which takes the final decision is also to be held accountable for the decisions and its implementation. Because the minister at one level, as a MLA, is a lawmaker, but as a minister, he is head of the political system. And as per the Telangana Secretariat Manual, the final decision is of the minister. And not only that, in the department, the minister has to decide which level of files are to be disposed of at the secretary's level and which have to come at the minister's level. So that responsibility is also given to minister. So this is a new beginning which we are seeing in the last few weeks.
Right. I'll show you, but even YS Jagannath Reddy's case, he is an elected MLA at that time, son of a former chief minister, and he was arrested in quid pro quo. And they said, oh, lakhs of crores, it has come to just hundreds of crores or 1,200 crores now. We are not sure, because we don't, even if a paisa of a corruption is equal to corruption or whatever quid pro quo, whatever it is. There also, YS Jagannath Reddy was arrested, along with it bureaucrats. Bureaucrats
Yeah.
went to jail. I'll just show you some interesting facts. It's not new, as we are trying to now understand, because there too here. I'll try to see here. Sri Lakshmi had
ఇది ఇండియాస్ బెస్ట్ ఫర్టిలిటీ హాస్పిటల్.
She had to
39
go to
అంటే
jail
సంతానం, 49
because
అంటే
she was just
సంతోషం.
being
49
ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ తెలంగాణ
mines and 2 వారాల జైలు శిక్ష విధించిన ఏపీ హైకోర్టు. కోర్టును క్షమాపణ కోరిన ఐఏఎస్ అధికారులు.
కోర్టు ధిక్కరణ
జైలు
కేసులో
శిక్షకు
8
బదులు
మంది
ఏడాది
ఐఏఎస్లకు
పాటు నెలలో
ఏపీ
ఒక
హైకోర్టు
రోజు
జైలు శిక్ష విధించింది. 8 మంది
సంక్షేమ
ఐఏఎస్లకు
హాస్టల్కు
2
వెళ్లి
వారాల
సేవ
జైలు శిక్ష
చేయాలని ఏపీ
విధించింది.
హైకోర్టు ఆదేశం.
న్యాయస్థానాన్ని ఐఏఎస్లు క్షమాపణ
కోర్టు
కోరడంతో
ధిక్కరణ
జైలు శిక్ష
కేసులో
తప్పించి
8
సేవా
మంది ఏపీ
కార్యక్రమాలు
ఐఏఎస్లకు
చేయాలని
జైలు
కోర్టు
శిక్ష.
ఆదేశించింది. సంక్షేమ
2 వారాల
హాస్టళ్లలో
జైలు శిక్ష
నెలలో ఒక రోజు
విధించింది.
వెళ్లి సేవ చేయాలని ఆదేశాలు జారీ చేసింది. ఏడాది పాటు హాస్టళ్లలో సేవా కార్యక్రమం చేపట్టాలని ఐఏఎస్లకు సూచించింది. విజయ్ కుమార్, శ్యామలారావు, జీకే ద్వివేది,
ఇక్కడ కూడా
గుర్తి రాజశేఖర్, శ్రీలక్ష్మి, గిరిజాశంకర్, చిన్నవీరభద్రుడు, ఎంఎం నాయకులకు జైలు శిక్ష విధించింది. విద్యార్థులు మధ్యాహ్నం, రాత్రి భోజన ఖర్చులు భరించాలని ఆదేశాల్లో పేర్కొంది.
ఇక్కడ ఇవి దీంతో పాటు కూడా సామాన్యులు అంటున్నారు, మేమేమైనా ధిక్కరణకు గురైతే మమ్మల్ని జైలు పంపుతారు, మమ్మల్ని కూడా ఇట్లా సేవలు చేసుకున్న భాగ్యం ఇవ్వాలని అంటే హైకోర్టు అండ్ అయ్యో I will try to show you many examples. Here, this is another one, same one. Guilty of contempt of court. This I am showing you as contempt of court cases. Why should there be a contempt? Before I go to other agenda, why contempt, sir? Why IAS officers don't follow court instructions? Or before, why should someone go to court? Why can't IAS dispose of the file as per rule of law, as per the merit? If you dispose of, there is no contempt. No, sir. Why will aggrieved will go to the court?
At one level, yes. Contempt of court is normally after giving the opportunity to the officer to consider the case on the instructions of the court and pass a judgment. But then there are few cases where specific instructions are given by the court, and those instructions are difficult to be implemented, the court instructions, because of some rules, etc. And when the file is circulated, the file normally, in many cases, is not pending at the secretary's level. It may be pending at the political executive level. But even when this is pointed out to the court does not appreciate this fact and holds the administrative head responsible for non-implementation of the court direction. Those are the cases which I'm talking about.
But straight cases where, as you rightly said, they could have agreed would never go to court if you act in the very first instance. Even you say political processes are involved or political victimization is involved, not allowing administrators to work, you mean to say?
No, I'm not going into that issue. The issue of contempt of court arises after the instructions of the court are not implemented in a time-bound fashion. First thing. So sometimes there are some issues, there are some difficulties where the administrative head is not able to implement the instructions of the court at his level. So the file has to go to the political executive level. And even when the file is not pending or is not delayed for the contempt of court issue only at the administrative head level, even then many times court is not able to appreciate the fact that it is a political executive's responsibility, not the administrative head responsibility. That was the limited point which I was making. See, in some cases where the administrative head is not acting in spite of instructions of the court, he has to be hanged and he should be hanged. There is no dispute on that legal point.
Wonderful, sir. I salute you, because that's how rule of law should be. If the administrator doesn't duly discharge his duties, in spite of, he should be literally hanged. In the sense, he should be punished, because we are not here to pass any judgment. Every individual has got their own subtle fundamental rights. And I'll just try to, if I just play this. This is, yeah. Is it the same? I don't know.
I recently got offer from one company. The fixed component 100% hike I got.
ఏపీలో కోర్టు ధిక్కరణ కేసులో 8 మంది ఐఏఎస్లకు జైలు శిక్ష ఖరారైంది. 2 వారాల పాటు హైకోర్టు జైలు శిక్ష విధిస్తూ తీర్పునిచ్చింది. ఐఏఎస్
This I've already played, and now coming to, there were many other things which they have sent me right from Haryana. Jagannath Mishra, how he was let off, and how Lallu Prasad Yadav has gone to jail. Again, political, not only political cash connotations came, but people don't understand. Court goes by evidences. Here also they have employed the best of the Supreme Court advocates, but still he was sent to remand. And then in YS Jagan Mohan Reddy's case also, IAS officers along with the politicians, even Ramana Garu, now he's the minister, I think, they've all gone to jail. Even Sabita Indra Reddy has to face the music. So both the political executives as well as administrators have gone to jail in that quid pro case. Still it's going on. Then what is the role of an IAS officer? Now you tell me, sir. What should you do?
No, quid pro quo cases are at a different level. Why at a different level? Because there, if I can be more blunt, the exchange of favor is never recorded on the file. It is only presumed. See, it is presumed. Assumption. The way decision is taken and the way decision is implemented or not implemented.
Okay.
So where the instance or evidence for the favor being exchanged in lieu of the decision evidence is there the political executive as well as the and if the administrative head is also involved in that, both have to face the consequences. So that's a normal process, and the court has to give its final judgment depending upon merits of the case and the evidence produced. And there is like nothing more to comment on that. Both are going because there is some evidence or at least allegation of that. And the investigating officer has found some truth in it. Then only the charge sheet is raised. But then it is only prima facie. The judiciary has to do its full job and tell what is right, what is wrong, whether they are involved in the undesirable activities or not.
Yeah.
So unless the
Prosecution and
case is-
trial, prosecution, trial,
Yes,
till pronouncement of judgment. Yeah, in any given,
yes,
that is understood. But here,
yes, sir.
now I'll ask you, in IAP, former Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu's case, shadow files, they say important information, they have destroyed the files. What is shadow file? What is how is that the files are destroyed without the knowledge of the secretary or IAS officer there?
And see, as per procedure, some departments like law, finance, they maintain shadow files. Why? Because when the file goes, they give their contribution by 1 or 2 paragraphs on the main file. But they also have the shadow file in their own office as to on what was the brief facts of the case, the merits of the case, and the reason why they have given that observation or comments or advice on the main file. So that is a shadow file business, which is perfectly as per procedure. There is nothing wrong in it. Destruction of file, losing of file, it's a very serious thing. And especially such files where allegations are there. And normally there is an officer in every department who is responsible for files at different levels. So someone is to be held accountable for every file, because all the movement of the file is recorded. And in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, much of it is done digitally also. Much, I'm not saying complete. And date-wise, the entries and the stamps are there on the file. So, and once a file comes to department, it is known which officer is responsible for the upkeep of the file, not notings on the file. So someone is to be held accountable for destruction or missing file.
Yeah, now here
that is very clear.
Yeah, in Telangana, I will put it. Now, so many, if IAS officer signs, it will become government order, GO. Why is that so many GOs are missing from the public domain in Telangana? Now, who should be held responsible? Who should maintain?
No. It is not. No. Let me be very clear. It is not the IAS officer signing the file first. Factually, it is the orders are issued in the name of, depending upon the order, on the either secretary to government or assistant secretary or deputy secretary to government. The orders on the file are depending upon the protocol, whether approved by the political executive or the administrative head. So orders are issued only after that. They are not issued as per whims and fancies or personal likings or personal judgment of the officer.
Okay.
It is through a process.
Yeah.
And after approval at the appropriate level, then the orders are issued by another officer down the line. For example, most of the decisions are taken at the political executive level, but they are not signed by the minister. They are signed by the secretary or deputy secretary or assistant secretary or section officer, depending upon the level of the file. So that procedure is set, and there is no. And the thing which you talked about, all the orders once they are issued, they are one can take them under RTI. They are any person by applying can take, and depending upon the government rules and regulations, some are made public, some are not made public. That means on the digital platform. See, making public can be in different forms. Making available to the public on demand, or putting it on the digital platform. So that's a decision and discretion of the government, which orders should be on the digital platform and which should be available to the public on demand. For example, I will tell you, at one point of time, if my office coffee expenses are 50 rupees, that order also used to be on the digital platform. But is the digital platform to be overburdened, overloaded with those kind of orders? that discretion is of
but now I think many complain that the GO means government order, it should be signed by the secretary of the rank of IAS, not deputy secretary. Even if a deputy secretary signs, it will become a GO, government order.
it all depends on the protocol, because why I'm not specifically saying who has to sign. Normally, the serious orders, the substantive orders are signed by the secretary to government.
Yeah.
But whether they should be on digital platform or available to the public on demand, that is a view which the government has to take from time to time.
Government means even the
But,
administrative officer, secretaries also, IAS as well as political.
No. This decision is generally taken for the government as a whole.
Both
This I'm talking about 3 years
political
back, not
executive
now.
as well as administrative executives. Together they take this decision.
No. The final thing, the advice can be from the administrative head, but the decision is by the political executive.
So both go in hand in. But now I ask you a specific point. Whether it is quid pro quo or former Chief Minister Nara Babu Chandra Naidu's case, or for that matter, Delhi liquor scam, there also, at least their chief secretary said this policy is against the government. Government will be losing 2,000 to 3,000 crores of exchequer. State exchequer will lose so much of money, and he complains to Lieutenant Governor. Why IAS officers are not that proactive, as we say, judicial activism in controlling corruption, or in coming to the rescue of state exchequer, or in coming to the rescue of a common man who files a petition?
There, I will answer in 2 parts.
Yes, sir.
First, many systemic changes in the government process have been made in the last few years, 2 decades, 3 decades, to reduce, abolish corruption at different levels. First thing. See, corruption takes place, why? One of the few causes, delay in taking decision and informing the concerned public. Now, most of the departments, for many of their activities, have set timelines which they are adhering to. That this kind of a decision, this kind of a request will be disposed of in this timeline. So the public has to have the patience to wait for that once it is a departmental pronouncement. Second is wrong decisions being taken for the sake of quid pro quo. That's a different thing. See, there, whether it is wrong or right and whether it is influenced by money or not, that is the domain of the judiciary and the quasi-judicial processes to finalize and decide which action was influenced by quid pro quo or not. But where government, see, if the government or the department says that we will decide this case in 5 days, all such cases, then wait for 5 days and get the decision. Where is the question of quid pro quo? If it's a wrong decision out of the way favor, that will depend on evidence of the process and the quid pro quo.
So now, yeah, you have answered it in 2 parts, but now we have got 8 minutes time. Now you tell me, where are the shadow files stored?
In the department, and there's a section officer is responsible for the safe custody of the files most of the time. The section officer,
Including shadow files, along with the original file.
Yes. No, see, shadow file of the concerned department will be with the section officer dealing with the subject.
Okay. That cannot miss anyway, even if you destroy it.
No, if it is destroyed, he will be held accountable unless he has circulated the file and it is pending at some other level.
Another aspect, these days, the political bosses, if you favor political bosses, you are being remunerated with good political posts, like we have seen Gargji, with due respects to him, after completing his term as CGI, he is the Rajya Sabha MP. Likewise, many diplomats I mean, many bureaucrats have got vantage positions. Do you think for these positions also IAS administrators, IAS officers are succumbing and doing injustice to the people? Because you also vouch on Constitution, am I right? Article 3 and all. You have got your own law department, personal department with the Union Home Ministry. You also vouch by certain norms, service rules and regulations.
See here, the political executive has a discretion which officer to choose, which officer not to choose for a particular assignment, which holds good for the assignments when we are in service, and after service, the political or social appointments which one can call. If the government of the day or the political head of the day feels that some officer after retirement will be useful politically, then why not? Then why not? Whether he has carried favor with the political executive or not, that's a different subject. That will depend on evidences and other things. So that discretion is rightly so with the political executive.
Yeah, why
Who
I'm
out of the available lot?
Why I'm asking you, that's right. Political, as you rightly said, political. Why I'm asking you is when Prime Minister of India says Kaleshwaram is anytime money for KCR. And similarly, he said Polavaram is anytime money for Nara Chandrababu Naidu. In these cases, with the topmost political executive, if he is clearly stating that there is corruption involved in Kaleshwaram, if retired officials join, here you have seen the Chief Secretary and all, he has gone to AP, has come back and he has rejoined this Telangana government. And tomorrow, don't you think you will all be vulnerable and liable to be prosecuted in case, if the case goes ahead?
No. See, I'll not comment on the allegations, unsubstantiated statements, non-judicial pronouncements, on these things, because many of them are for political reasons, even if there is some truth in it. So they have to be substantiated and have a legal stamp, then only one can comment on that. And yes. I'll repeat, for social appointments and administrative appointments, the discretion is to be exercised by the political executive. And all other, the gossip part is different. We don't comment on gossip.
Let us not get into gossip or personal affairs, no question.
Yes,
that is their personal, everyone has got personal life and they have got right to live. Right from peon to the chief secretary. We have nothing again, right from prime minister to chief minister. Likewise, all citizens like us, because we are the constitutional authority, like you and me. And before I really say bye, why these corruption cases of late have become more frequent, and why commoner should go around your office and only at that particular time you ask, and there also go like is very afraid to speak to an IAS officer or IPS officer. What is this system going on? Are we still enslaved and living in British dominated India, or British political mindset dominated India, or British political administrative dominated India?
We are functioning in a democratic setup. Let us not bring the British India into discussion, because that's a different chapter. The cost of democracy is increasing every year. As per normal observation, I'm not going by evidence. When I say cost of democracy, cost of elections, cost which is incurred by the candidates, that will have its reflection on the administrative system in some form or the other. The administrative system cannot be totally isolated or immune to the democratic process and the way and the direction in which it is going. So I think the reforms have to be not only at the administrative level, which some steps are being taken regularly by different departments to different levels of success, but also on the amount of money which is being spent for the political process. That has to be more accountable, I'll say. I'm not against putting limits, but that has to be accounted for.
That's upward. Transparency and accountability are the major. Now, before I say by last one, why should IAS officers be biased and divided or privileged to serve one political party interests? Don't you think this is defeating transparency and accountability, or people
No,
participate in constitutional democracy?
I don't agree. Say that the officers are favorable to one party against the other. It is a perception which goes. I can cite two instances where with change of government, the so-called visibly important posts are held by similar officers with change of the government.
Wonderful. We salute
it is
that.
both sides.
It should be a continuous process. Administration
Yes.
is a continuous process. Whether this government comes or goes, why should you have a selected few? What is the secrecy? Why should you have that secrecy?
No.
Policies are in public favor. Funds are public funds meant for public utility. Just one, because we have just 2 minutes. Yes, sir.
This state has seen officers who have worked with 3 chief ministers. So, see, that shows that, things are both sides. Some may be close to some politicians, but there are others who are equally efficient, more efficient, and who serve different chief ministers and different political parties with the same ease and with the professionalism also.
Wonderful.
And commitment.
That's what.
So that is my response to the...
We like such type of officers and such type of political privileged climate, because you need to serve people. And in the last show also, I've clearly quoted what public representative is, public duties are. Similar way, the duties of Indian administrative officers are also marked clearly, as Mishra ji has pointed out. Everyone is accountable. There should be transparent, absolute transparency and accountability. Everyone, irrespective of political executive chief minister, now they will all face the music under Prevention of Corruption Act. No one can escape. We salute such wonderful politicians, officers who combine to see that there is absolute welfare and development in the larger interest of people, in the larger public interest, and in a transparent and accountable way. And also, we always say there is a personal life. We have no reason we should get into the personal lifestyles. We did not get any chance to discuss the personal lives of IAS officers out of their stressful duties in the secretariat or otherwise. Later on in another episode, we will surely discuss. And this is what the role of IAS officers is, and who is the decision making. Is it the political executive or the administrative executive? It has been made very clear now. The PC Act will apply to everyone. Thank you very much, sir. Do support DR TSPR channels, Citizen